Greetings, my friends. Today we want to talk about the impact of John Dabney and Cato Alexander, two African-American mixologists who were pioneers in the craft and contributed immensely to the development of mixology as we know it today. John Dabney was a renowned Richmond-based caterer through most of the 19th century. Dabney began acquiring his reputation while enslaved, even serving one of his famed mint juleps to the future Edward VII during the Prince's 1860 visit to America. He was in the process of purchasing his own freedom when the American Civil War, 1861 through 1865, and slavery ended. Known for his integrity, he could secure credit from the banks, which he and his wife used to purchase several properties and open a restaurant. Much like these chefs, Chef Vic, owner of Sauce the City, and Chef Ricardo, aka the Gourmet Gent.
All right, Chef Vic.
Yes.
So how did you first become aware of the Slam Stand LLC, and what inspired you to work with them?
Well, I first became aware of the Slam Stand when we had our location on West 25th. I mean, it was a 10,000 square foot building with a full bar.
Okay.
So I came across them by mutual friends as we was trying to have events where we wanted to incorporate alcohol to the events. I heard about Slam Stand, I heard about Amber, and I invited them in. They ate, and it was history from there. So they saw the bar, and they was able to incorporate the bar without any questions.
Okay.
But the main thing that I wanted to make sure is that it wasn't just a typical, a bar situation. I wanted to incorporate the food and the drinks to kind of merge to make sure the customers was getting a distinct experience.
Nice. Which actually goes into our next question. How have you collaborated with the Slam Stand LLC to incorporate mixology into your offerings?
Well, we've been working with them on specific items as far as like the Cleveland Hot. That's one of my favorite drinks that they made with us. So we're known for our Cleveland Hot chicken sandwich. So they was able to incorporate the spice into a drink as well. So it complemented the spiciness of the drink and the spiciness of the chicken sandwich. Kind of gave the customer kind of like a blend,
right,
if you will. It cooled down the spiciness, so it was like a perfect blend of alcohol and a blend of culinary expertise. So it was amazing.
Nice. I've had that chicken sandwich, and it is. Amber also expressed to me before how, Alrighty. So how do you see your relationship with food and drink evolving in the culinary industry, and how do you plan to adapt these changes?
I think as we grow and as we make more relationships with different corporations, I believe that the bar aspect is a part of our company.
Absolutely.
And it's a branch that keeps growing every year as we make different partnerships with different companies. Bartending, mixology is all a part of the environment that Sauce City is becoming accustomed to.
Okay.
So I believe that as we grow in the culinary, in the mixology as well, I want to incorporate, like we did with the Cleveland Hot drink, I want to have the Cleveland Hot chicken sandwich paired with that drink, also with beers, also with cognacs. We use a lot of cognac in basically our sauces. So we always have incorporating alcohol into our culinary experience. So as we grow and as we go into these different venues, I want to incorporate, Slam Stand to come with us as far as we grow, so we can keep that fresh double team combo of the food and the drinks together.
Love that partnership. All right, lastly, what do you hope people take away from this with your story and your success?
I hope that other entrepreneurs, other chefs, other culinary expertise, they won't shy away from using a service like Slam Stand. Slam Stand was a full service that also came with their own staff.
Right.
They came professional. They cleaned up. That's a big thing. They helped out. And when I asked a question, or we want to incorporate the total experience of the customer, they were all on board with that. So they didn't have a closed mind. So that's why I always tell, up-and-coming chefs, reach out, work with people, don't have that attitude like I'm the best,
right,
I'm not working with you, blah, blah, blah. You have an open mind. And you have the open mind, and things like what we did on West 25th with the Slam Stand and those numerous amount of events and parties where people enjoyed themselves. They didn't stick to like the custom regular
right,
drinks. They branched off into our specific drinks like the Cleveland Hot, the Sunset, everything that incorporates our menu. And it kind of gave the customer, you know, a different experience, kind of like they were out of Ohio for a minute.
For sure.
You know, like you were in LA or something, like you got the whole drink menu paired with your food menu, and that what makes it different. So I will always tell entrepreneurs, work with individual companies that's growing up, that's coming together and making a good thing, because it's all about customer service.
Absolutely.
And Slam Stand is phenomenal at customer service and making sure that their product is excellent, on time, perfect at the same time, and they work with you, so you guys are on the same page. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
How do you believe Amber relates to John Dabney, mixologist who kept his family first by paying to free his enslaved wife?
Well, I do believe that Amber has helped create a lot of opportunities for our family and a lot of different experiences. And initially, Slam Stand started right at home, and it included all family from the very beginning. And actually, it still includes all of the family. I'm sure Amber will appreciate this, that her number one cheerleader, her number one employee is her mother.
Yep.
But that just goes to show that, you know, keeping the family first and trying to create traditions and a legacy, it does start at home.
It does. I would agree with that. I know how important that is to her. That's something that she's always embodied and speaks about highly. So going into our next question, since it kind of started in your kitchen, in your living room, what is your favorite Slam cocktail?
It is the Mystique Peach. I think I had a couple of favorites in the beginning because we was testing everything. But as time went on and that became one of the most popular drinks, it was a go-to for everybody that I knew. And I actually, Mystique Peach includes Hennessy, and I was not a Hennessy fan. I'm a tequila drinker. However, the Mystique Peach was so good.
It was so good. It's still one of my favorite drinks too.
Yeah, it is. And just how Amber incorporated the fruit and just made everything so fresh. I really enjoyed it, and I still will drink a Mystique Peach. I want to get one of those old school ones back in the bag. You know, back in the bag, how she used to go out and sell them to everybody. So the Mystique Peach is definitely a favorite.
I would agree. And I think she need to pop the trunk one more time for that.
Yes.
So with that being said, how have you think it's been transformed?
Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. And I've had an opportunity to be around from the beginning, from the pop in the trunk, you know, going to different beauty shops and different stores, and even to family picnics, even to parties. You know, when people don't want to buy the expensive drinks at the bar, we know we're gonna call Amber. She gonna pull up, pop the trunk, and you know, we got our cocktails. But just over time, I do definitely think that Amber has expanded her horizons, networked a lot, and found a core group of people who do support her. And even some of my own people, you know, will say, call Amber. If we looking for something or something to do, or we need cocktails at this event and we know there's nothing there, call Amber. She gonna figure out something. And I'm talking about, she literally figures it out.
Absolutely.
We will have nothing. And she will make something. She'll say, look, I got this one bottle of this, and I'm coming. Do you got some mint? You got some lemons? You got some sherbet? Whatever you have, she gonna make something happen. But I definitely appreciate the growth, the evolvement over time, and just, you know, appreciate that she's taking time to look at the market, the different people and the audiences, you know, that may need service for whatever, and to be a part of it, you know, to be called on, which I say, you know, like, call me last. But my niece will call me, and I do appreciate the opportunities I've had. I've really met some really good people along the way and had some really good experiences with working with Slam Stand.
All right. Well, you kind of already touched on this, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more. So how do you see the Slam Stand LLC evolving in the near future?
Well, I definitely see that this could even branch off into developing a type of wine line, because that's really where, so just to be all the way honest, all of our drinks kind of started with like a wine base. We were making all types of sangrias, We were making all types of fruity something, you know, just trying to be like ladylike little drinks. And then, you know, we incorporated the real liquor, the hard liquor. But I could see Slam Stand eventually branching off into looking into making some wines in the future. And I think that would definitely be an accent to, you know, what's already going on.
I agree.
And I think it would definitely reach the audience that she's already, you know, tapped into. But I think a wine situation would be a lituation.
Yes, ma'am.
For sure. And I'm here to support it because Amber comes from a family of a winemaker. My father made wine, okay? And she may not have had an opportunity to partake, but we've made wine in our family. And we got family members from the South that can help her, show her how to make, you know, some things. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for her to expand on winemaking.
I agree. So we shall see what the future holds for the Slam Stand, but we know either way it goes, it's gonna be something grand.
Yes, I know. And we're gonna be working.
We're gonna be here supporting. All right, Untold, well, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your support continuously throughout the years. You are a huge asset to her. I know that personally. I've had the chance to know you all for a very long time, and just want to give you your flowers too.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Cato Alexander was born into slavery in 1780. Precisely where he was born is a bit of a mystery. Nevertheless, Cato ended up working as a chef and bartender in present-day Manhattan. During his time there, he worked in inns and hotels and became a quick friend of a gentleman named George Washington. Perhaps you heard of him. In 1799, Cato was freed from slavery in New York under the Gradual Abolition of Slavery Act. This act allowed gradual emancipation of enslaved people without immediately making slavery illegal. Although it was a double-edged sword, Cato took advantage of this act and continued to work within the service industry. After 10 years of earning an immense income, Cato opened his own roadside tavern called, you guessed it, Cato's Tavern. In around 1810, Cato was finally able to purchase his own two-story building in the prime location of East 54th and 2nd Avenue. Cato's Tavern was frequented by local elites and fast young men from near and far, looking for a fantastic drink and a good time. It's said that fast and elite white men would race their carriages up and down the road where Cato's was located. It would stop for a bite to eat and a perfect drink, and race home when all was said and done. Cato's name became known all over the U.S. He was regularly spoken of in newspapers, press, and word of mouth about his legendary space, and it was spread as far as the tongue could wag. Cato was regularly harassed and threatened by whites who could not fathom a formerly enslaved person coming so far and rising so high in the service industry. On one occasion, brothers George and Andrew Luke concocted a plan to have a woman pretend to plead for help outside of Cato's. Once the woman was let in, Cato tended to her and went back to sleep. The woman unlocked the tavern door and let the Luke brothers in. Once inside, they damaged a significant amount of property and beat Cato and his pregnant wife nearly to death. After a difficult recovery period, Cato was able to bounce back and continue with business as usual. However, what made Cato so lovable inevitably became his downfall: his generosity. A significant amount of Cato's clientele were young, wealthy whites. He became friends with a lot of them, and he was known for giving out loans to those down on their luck in hopes of nestling his way into high society. But also as a man who himself started from the bottom, he knew what it was to struggle, and he wanted to help if he could. In this way, Cato indeed made a lot of friends, and he also accrued a lot of debt. $100,000 worth to be exact, the equivalent to over $3 million today. These friends who came with their hands out never paid Cato back, and he could not recover from that financial ruin. So it was that after almost 50 years in business. Shortly after that, Cato tried to open an oyster house, but was forced to close down after 1 year because of old age and various limitations. Not much is recorded of his life after the closing of his oyster house, but it is believed that Cato died unfortunately in February of 1858.
Chef Ricardo, may you introduce us to the Gourmet Gent and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a personal and private chef within the Cleveland area. I specialize in creating amazing food experiences that goes beyond expectation by providing unparalleled services and amazing food experiences to not only excite the taste buds, but also to please and wow crowds alike.
How did you first become aware of the Slam Stand LLC, and what inspired you to work with them?
We just so happened to be in the same place at the same time. The Carrie was hosting an amazing philanthropic event, and I was coordinating all of the food, and she was hosting the bar, and just seeing her in action just really wowed me. She was amazing in terms of creating well-crafted cocktails that appealed to the crowd. She was able to work with discerning palates and then create some amazing cocktails that was harmonious, that would just appeal to everyone. And just seeing just tasting the flavors, just seeing how she was able to create a wow factor with the drinks, and just seeing how she was able to put a smile on everyone's face who left the bar, just really appealed to me. And just seeing the level of professionalism and how much she really poured her heart and soul into the business really appealed to me as a whole.
Okay, nice. Can you speak to the importance of showcasing African American history and culture through food pairings?
Absolutely. We as minority people, we've come from all over the world or touch every aspect of the world. So when I think about the type of dishes that I create, I want to showcase the global culture of a lot of African American dishes. So I pride myself in making global comfort food from all over the world. Or global soul food, should I say.
Oh, okay.
So, and, it's one thing to create the dish, but it's another thing to understand the culture of the dish.
Absolutely.
The culture of the ingredients in order to have that relationship, and also to understand the significance of the dish and how it will ultimately appeal to those that are enjoying the meal. So I want to be able to not only just give them a delectable dish to enjoy, but I also want to give them a cultural experience as well.
Nice. I travel a lot, so that's really huge. Okay. In what ways have you learned from the Slam Stand LLC and incorporate that to your approach with mixology into your practices?
One thing that I've learned from the Slam Stand is the beauty of infusing a lot of different flavors and ingredients. I think that's the beauty of the Slam Stand, that Amber is unafraid to kind of play with the palate of those that's actually enjoying the cocktails.
For sure.
And I think that's the aim. That's the way I approach my food. I develop a playful approach as it relates to the visual presentation, but I also aim to create a wow factor as it relates to accentuating flavors and flavor profiles and textures, just to create a wow factor for those that's actually enjoying the dish.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you, Chef Ricardo. It's been a pleasure.
Their contributions have paved the way for many to follow. Today, we have the Slam Stand LLC, a company that has been greatly influenced by these great mixologists, even when Amber had not yet learned the rich footprints of the history behind her. The Slam Stand has been serving the people of Cleveland for the past 8 years. They have worked with 50+ contracted staff and have served hundreds of clients during this time, with the help of others who see the vision and continue to pave the way.
How did you first become aware of the Slam Stand LLC and what inspired you to work with them?
Okay, so me and Amber, we met based off of somebody mutual that we have. And I was at a restaurant and our mutual person was there and she was like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 20, I'll be 21 soon though, don't get it twisted." So she was like, "Well, I have a perfect opportunity, somebody I want you to meet." And I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm real nervous though, like we had a restaurant, and when I walked up to her, she was like on a little date, and I was like, oh, I don't want to impose. I was like, "Hi, I'm Selena, I want to be a bartender." She was like, "Okay, I got something that I can have you do or whatever. I just lost somebody, so this like perfect timing and everything." And I'm like, okay. So after that encounter, we were texting a little bit, but like, you always leery about certain situations. So I'm like, well, I don't really know. And then the event was on Quincy, so my mom was like, I don't want you. I'm like, Mom, I'm okay, I'm gonna go. And I went to my first event. at Karamu, and everything was just like, it was like a new world was opening up for me, because like I said, like I was already interested in bartending. I just didn't know like how to jump in, who to talk to. Yeah, so it was like from there it just took off, and I've just been stuck ever since. And I was like 2019, 2020, around that time. So
You started at a legendary place too.
Karamu.
Yes. Okay. Who is Amber to you?
Oh, who isn't Amber to me? Amber is my mentor, my big sister, my counselor, she helped me with finances, she helps me with my mom. Amber is just everybody that I need in one person, and I try to be like the little sister and everything like that. So, like I said, who isn't Amber to me?
Okay. How has working with the Slam Stand impacted you?
More ways than one. Every event that I am granted the opportunity to work, I always make sure I tell Amber how grateful I am that she put me in rooms that some of my peers would never even fathom to be able to think about. And she's taught me so much about networking and professionalism, putting myself out there, not being afraid to, network myself, because not only like am I doing her, like I'm working for her, but I'm also branding myself as well. So me being the representative of myself, my family, she's teaching me that like each event, I promise, like I always, Amber, just thank you so much, because like some of my peers, like they haven't been outside of Cleveland, let alone going to these big networking events and having the opportunity to travel and things like that. So that's my tale on the Slam Stand.
Well, thank you. It sounds like the Slam Stand has been a huge factor in your life.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Qatar, how did you first become aware of the Slam Stand LLC, and what inspired you to work with them?
I've known Amber for a while, just out on the scene, so to speak, at this location, that location. Always a fun time. So when we sat down at the Karamu House, we really got into knowing each other a little bit more, and we both were excited about mixology. She's been to a few locations that I've worked at in the past, and we've always had a good time. So meeting her was like second nature.
Right.
Our energies really connected, and it was just a party from thereafter.
Love it. Okay. Can you tell us about your first encounter?
Well, let me start with non-officially. We would do little things. We would get together, we would try new drinks together, but officially it was at All-Star Weekend. It was an amazing time. The city was on fire. People were so happy. So the electricity of the city and everything that was going on, it just made the event even more powerful, even more exuberant, for lack of a better word. Everyone was just having such a good time, but we were such a well-oiled machine throughout that event that it just made the other events just more fun.
Nice. Okay. And so who is Amber to you exactly?
Amber is fire. She is, oh gosh, Amber is fire. She is fun. She is joy. She is something that is inspiring. As a young black female entrepreneur, she is ahead of her game. She is not afraid to take the extra step. She's not afraid to go that extra mile. She's not afraid to be unhinged for what she knows will work. And you have to be risky. You have to take those risks. You have to be confident, and you have to have a good team. And she has all of that. And she will definitely go far with Grand Slam, I'm sure.
I definitely agree with you. And those were some beautiful affirmations as well. Another question I would like to ask you, how long have you actually been in the mixology world?
I'm gonna say I have two, it's a two-part.
Okay.
Unofficially, all throughout undergrad, I was the girl breaking my wrist, pouring the cocktails. I did a little bit after college, but I really got deep into it. I took a deep dive, and I learned from a lot of friends. When I came back home in 2010, I hit the ground running. I wanted to know any and everything that I could about mixing drinks, learning from the front to the back. What is a vermouth? What goes with vermouth? What is a vodka? What is a potato vodka? What is a rye whiskey versus a bourbon? I wanted to know all of that, and I immersed myself into that. I went deep down where I was working at one point in time 2 jobs. I bartended in the evening, and then I went to my regular job at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was all that I did. I grinded for about 3 years straight.
Okay.
It's almost like a second language now. People don't understand the magnitude of what bartenders do. They think, oh, you just pull a bottle off the shelf and you pour it. They know nothing about the distillery part, how many years you distill this and what makes this rye such a rich rye, how strong it can be versus a tequila and the aging of the barrels and all of that. People don't take the time. They just think that bartenders are people standing behind a bar pouring liquor. And you have those people, but for me, if I want to know something, I want to be an expert on it. I want to know as much as I can. While I'm having fun, also when to say no, when not to overpour, when not to give a customer more than what they need.
Right.
So I just hit the ground running in 2010, and I haven't looked back.
Honey, that seems like you speak this language very fluently, with that being said. So I'm going to go into my last question. Thank you for that answer. What is your take on the growing industry of Black mixology?
Black mixology has come a long way we're in a different era, we're in a different time right now. It was a point where it was not deemed very ladylike to stand behind a bar. People looked at us as a less than professional profession, so to speak. Now we go from, you could take for instance from Freaknik all the way to a corporate world. And every time there's an event, who wants to know who's the bartender?
Correct.
Who's serving our drinks? Oh, I know that bartender from here. Oh, that bartender from there. So it's really social economics, so to speak. Who knows you, how well you are with your customers, how well and comforting you can be with them versus, everybody isn't always pleasant.
Correct.
But with bartending, you have to feel the energy, you have to have a passion for it to be good at it. Because essentially, you are serving society, so to speak. You're serving from someone that has a 9 to 5 to someone who's flying a jet plane. You're working with society, and you just want to put your best foot forward with that. I think that mixology has come to a point that, to me, it's the best job you could ever have. You learn so much from different people, all walks of life, and everybody wants to drink.
Everybody wants to drink. We would drink for that.
The Slam Stand has been a pioneer in the field of mixology, just like John Dabney and Cato Alexander were in their time. They have taken their inspiration and created something unique and special. If you're watching this, you've probably had an Amber Slammer.
Introduce us to Chef Benny, and what do you do?
My name is Charles Benning. I'm a chef. I was a private chef for a couple of years. I did a lot of caterings, and now I'm a corporate chef for corporate headquarters here in Cleveland.
Nice. How did you first become aware of the Slam Stand LLC, and what inspired you to work with them?
Back, I think in like 2015, I first was aware of her because of her mother. Her mother used to come and hang out with a couple of us, and she's like, you should get my daughter up here to bartend and do some drinks for you guys. I was like, that was cool, just tell her to stop by, we'll see what we can do, if she can create something for us, especially for my fraternity. Okay. And then I met Amber, and it was just it was just a genuine friendship ever since then. I let her, like she said earlier, she was stalking me about doing some drinks. And I let her do one of my bus trips to Pittsburgh. And she created some creative drinks that went along with the football theme that we were doing. And then she got on the bus and turned the whole bus upside down. The drink she created was amazing. Needless to say, everybody didn't remember a lot after the trip, but it was a good time.
Awesome. So was that your first encounter? And if it was or wasn't, what was your first encounter?
That was my first encounter with the Am Slam, now Amber Slammer.
Next question, how important is it to incorporate healthier options in the Black community when it comes to culinary and mixology?
I believe it's extremely important because there's a story to tell. You know, as a chef, we want to create a story through our food. And as a mixologist, Amber helps complete that story. Everything has to pair, has to marry. And Am Slam does a great job with that.
How important is it to incorporate healthier options in the Black community when it comes to culinary and mixology?
It's very important because a lot of us don't have access to healthy foods. We eat a lot of processed foods. And it's important for us to get back to eating off the land like we did back in our grandfather's times or our great-grandfather's times, where things were more healthier. We don't see the healthier options because we've been accustomed to eating the scraps, I don't want to say scraps, but whatever was left from the land for whatever we got. So a lot of those traditions have been passed down through generations, and food has gotten worse over the time. Now it's more prevalent because a lot of us are facing a lot of health issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, hypertension, things of that nature. And it's important for us to get back and regulate our bodies. Unfortunately, a lot of meat products that we eat are not good for us. And we need to get back to grains and greens and beans and legumes and stuff.
In your opinion, what sets the Slam Stand LLC apart from any other business in the same industry?
The professional service, the knowledge of the business, the knowledge of the drinks. She's very creative. She works with you. Whatever you need, she does. She's very creative. I can't express that enough. Whatever theme that you come up with, she pairs every drink with that. Comes up creative names. It's just the professional service that her and her staff presents.
I would agree. All right, well, that's all I have for you. I thank you for your time. Amazing interview.
Thank you.
The Slam Stand has had a significant impact on the mixology industry and the city of Cleveland.
Okay, parents. How did your daughter come up with the idea of the Slam Stand LLC?
I think she came up with that idea because she saw these plastic bags, these pouches, and she said, "Oh, I think we can sneak these into the movies somewhere we go." And that's how I think she came up with it, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
She had to be something slick though for her.
In true her fashion.
Yeah.
You know, I like to say that I think Amber looks at everything as a business opportunity. I think it started, can't say for sure exactly when the Slam Stand concept or idea was birthed, but I think years ago, Amber started out in school selling keychains, candy, anything she could sell. You know, she went to school, she sold. I think from that time on, everything that she touched, it had to be about making some money, you know, opportunity to make money.
Absolutely. Okay. What were your initial thoughts when Amber first told you about the business idea?
When she first told me about the idea, I thought it could be lucrative because at that point, just knowing the people that I know and some of the people that we all know, they were notorious for drinking out the car.
Right.
Drinking and driving.
Right.
I mean, period. I mean, and so those are the things that, I think she managed to capitalize on those ideas because she said, well, okay, instead of, you know, you driving with the cup or a thermos or whatever, it could be put a little swag to it. So I think she created swag bags that way, and with the straw, that way, if you had to put it in your pocket or your purse or something, it had the zip lock, and it was very convenient for a lot of people.
I'm one of those people it's convenient for. Alrighty. How have you watched the business transform since it was first started?
I watched Amber. She used to come to the shop. I used to work at a barber shop, and she would come up and she would serve my clients. And I saw her doing a lot of hustling, carrying wagons, pulling wagons, selling out of her trunk, anything she could, any way to make the money. And I talked to her about, I was concerned about her being out by herself as a young lady, selling things out of her trunk, carrying so much cash. I was happy to see that she found her market, and being in the safe space and not in the streets. And so just to see her business go to a higher level, that was fulfilling.
Also, before she started this level, she had us all at the house, at home, the family. She was trying different flavors, and asked each one of us what we liked, to see, what her market would be, her target market would be. So it was carefully thought out, So she purchased, the necessary materials that she needed. We sampled. We said, okay, if this need a little bit more of something or a little less lemonade or whatever, but yeah, so it was carefully thought out idea. So she tried different packaging, to make it convenient for the transactions. Also, like he said, she had the cooler, the large cooler. She purchased ice. She thought about how she could keep the drinks cold. She went to she even cased the area to see what where she can sell her products at, and so she found a target area, with a certain radius, and she saw, okay, I can go in this area. There's like 5 salons and barbershops there. So once she figured that out, then she had even got customers, like frequent customers. They would call her and say, in the order for every Friday or every other Friday. So she really made it work, along with her pleasant personality. She was kind. She was willing to, be flexible. And, if someone said, do you have this flavor? She said, okay, I'm gonna think about that. And she saw how she could fit that into her existing inventory, and she made it work. And so we were very proud of her because she made it work.
Beautiful. Have you been involved in the business in any way? And if so, what has been your role? Manager.
I've been involved in the business a long time, with just suggestions on, where she can get merchandise materials from. Also to be her taste tester, and also help her prepare her, her product, and just gave her a couple of ideas, a few pointers, because I, was a connoisseur. So, I said maybe people like this, maybe they won't like that, but you can try it. But yeah, she took all that constructive criticism, and she took it and ran with it. And she was, she said hit the ground running every day. She was trying to go where she could, and she, again, she figured out what her market was. I mean, she figured, okay, I can do this on Friday, this on Saturday, okay, Super Bowl, I can do that. She capitalized on every event that was going on in Cleveland. She even reached out to, some of the former people, people that had businesses to say, hey, can I come and, put a couple of, my bags there in your organization? And, she would do that. So she was doing it. I mean, she had me, going along with her, hot, cold, outside, whatever it was, but she hit the ground running. She was a one-man show at one point, and then she recruited the entire family and everyone. So yeah, I'm proud of her.
Sorry. Next question. What has been your biggest challenge that your child has faced while running the Slam Stand LLC?
I think it goes back to what my wife said. Just finding her market, and just figuring out what clientele she wanted to cater to. As I alluded to before, just being out in the streets, ground root stuff. I don't think that was her market. It was a good jump start.
Right.
But I think she's in a safe place where she wanted to get to where she's at now. And so I think that was the biggest challenge for her.
Okay. Lastly, what do you hope people take away from your child's story and success with the Slam Stand LLC?
I think that people should take away that you can be successful in anything that you do. You start from the bottom, you lead by example, you work hard, you put your heart into it. You know, to me, it wasn't like, oh, this is something I'm going to do this week, and then next week I'm going to do something else. I think she has a passion for it, and she has, in those uncertain terms, that she'll express that at all times. Well, you may have some bourbon or something at home, or so I can make this. She's always looking to make something out of nothing. I would have never thought of that. Okay, cool. I can keep some Kool-Aid in the refrigerator.
Right.
Something, because if Amber is around, if there's an event, Amber's going to make it happen for you. If you can only have one ingredient, she can come up with 16 other ingredients to go with to make that work. So I just think as long as she's pleasant, continue to be pleasant, be willing to offer, and be flexible with that. I think she'll be successful. What I did like about her originally starting was she was using fresh ingredients like the raspberries, the peaches. Again, that peach was my favorite. The Mystic Peach. That original, the Slam original. But yeah, she used the fresh ingredients, and I would have never thought to use fresh ingredients in place of the can. I would use the fresh ingredients just as a decoration.
Correct.
As what do you call it? The garnish. But she used them and she made it work as the main ingredient. So I was really impressed with that.
Same. Awesome.
Yeah. I think that what I would like to have people get out of this is that, she put in a lot of work. A lot of people don't understand how hard it is to build a brand, and they don't know the years and years that Amber put into this thing. And sometimes as a parent, you're happy for your kids, you encourage them. But for me, I try to stay away and allow her to do what she needs to do.
Absolutely.
Just offer support when it's necessary. But so it can be our own, and it is, and I'm proud of her, very proud of her.
Okay, well, thank you.
Their commitment to quality and innovation has made them a favorite among Clevelanders, and their legacy will continue to inspire mixologists for years to come. The Slam Stand easily could have just given up, but in the rumored words of John Dabney, business was just too damn good.
Okay, Amber, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you first got started in mixology?
So, if we're being honest, I got started in 2015. There was a young lady, I wish I knew her name. She was selling jars with desserts in them. And by this point, I think I had been cooking food and inviting family over for game night a lot of nights, and I was broke a lot more nights than the nights they came. And so I said, I think I should put my drinks in a jar. And that's how I got started. I needed to make money to live, and the parties needed to stop. So yeah.
What inspired you to start your own mixology company, and what is the mission behind the Slam Stand LLC?
So what people don't know, yes, you have to pay the bills, right? I started in 2015 with the jars, but about 2 years later or so, by this point, we had 3 deaths of cancer in my family and 3 survivors. That was 2016. My market at the time was only my family. So I no longer wanted to push that image of juice and liquor, because that's what I sold. I sold juice and liquor. You start to age and you think about, well, how long am I gonna do this? A lot more nights. Again, I quit and I said, I don't wanna do this. Like, it's kind of boring. I can do it in my sleep, right? We bleach the place down, we pour drinks in the bottle, we sell them. I don't drink them anymore. what's next. And so I begged my mentor to just please let me bartend, please, because if I can just control the narrative more, I can change the dynamic of my business. My mentor is Pearl Flower Catering. Very hard to reach, but I reached her and I did the first Mother's Day brunch that I worked and not attended, and it started from there. So yeah, I decided private bartender would be the way to go. So yeah.
Okay. How did you incorporate, and still do, your personal identity and cultural heritage into your mixology creations?
I love to make it fun. I like to create flavors. I like to cook. So I said, how can I do that with liquid? And so that was my thing. Like, how do I feel? From there, it was, what do I drink? Where do I go? I like craft cocktails. I go out downtown. I go to Tremont. So I'm going to bring what I enjoy to this, and we go from there. So, yeah.
What is the importance of diversity and representation within the mixology industry?
It's everything. 2023, it's everything. It's probably the only thing. As I was speaking to some of the staff here, colleagues here, I didn't know about some of the gentlemen that we're talking about today until maybe 3.5 years ago. And so I wish that now this is going on year 8. I wish that in year 1 I knew about them, because I would have done a better job at showcasing what that looks like, to see more of me. I only knew a couple of girls doing what I was doing. Some of them are miles and miles away, states away. And so I didn't have anyone to talk to if they weren't direct competition. If they were direct competition, then I felt like I may not measure up to that, or someone may not call me, because there's so many of us that's not true anymore. I don't believe that. I don't subscribe to that. But yeah, if I had seen more of me, I think I would have felt more confident to keep doing what I was doing.
How do you see Black mixology evolving in the future, and what is your hope that you contribute to that?
It's gonna be big. It's already big, but it's gonna be on another scale. I plan on, Slam Stand has literally been my baby. So your baby grows, right? Mm-hmm. My company's gonna grow. This is a very important footprint, but it's not the last that I'll be leaving, that my team will be leaving. And my team is not just the people that are here. I have people in Texas, in Georgia, St. Louis. Yeah, it's gonna grow.
Can you walk us through the process of creating a new drink recipe, and where do you draw your inspiration from?
The kitchen, whatever's there. It just depends on what I feel like. It depends on what my guest feels like. But you will have a drink when you come. So normally I start there. It just depends on my mood, depends on the season. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is good. I love watching other mixologists. I love learning. I love going to vineyards. You immerse yourself in it. You're inspired, and you just do it. Sometimes it just comes. There's so many recipes that I do not have written down, but I can still do it right now. And it's just a feeling. So
that's that passion. What are some of your biggest challenges you faced as a Black woman in the mixology industry, and how have you overcome them?
Two things. Over sexualization. If you're gonna buy a drink from me, you want me to smile in your face. No. Or let me buy you a drink, or we go to the bar and assume that because I have a protective style that I just want to wear the weave to sell drinks. No, I know what I'm doing. So that has been an interesting journey in itself. And then, what we hear all the time is, she's my competition. She's my no. The toughest challenge I have daily is me, 1. 2, if my sister is over here doing that, then why can't we just do it together? I cannot serve 1 million people at once. I would love to, but I can't. It's not realistic.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that's the other challenge is that we should not work together to do this.
What advice would you give an aspiring mixologist who is looking to break into the industry?
Don't get ahead of yourself. Like don't doubt yourself. If I knew then what I know now, as cliche as it may be, I wouldn't be here. I had a regular job and I went to sleep at night with a regular job. But I wouldn't trade it. And had I known everything that I would have went through now, I probably would have said, we can wait. So I would tell that little girl or little boy, like, no, just do it. But also use your resources. There are people around you that you can go to for help. Use them a lot more than not, because you may learn something and you will not be a student. Ever.
Always a student. It's never too late to start either. Okay. How up to date do you stay with your latest mixology trends and techniques, and what resources do you rely on?
Ooh. I try to stay pretty up to date. Everyone has their own style of how they mix and what have you. You have your flair mixology, you have your pre-made drinks, you have the person that always wants to walk you through a cocktail. That would be me. So everyone has their style, but I just try to, I go online, you know, we have social media. I don't care to do it often, but I try to go on there and see what's going on. And more importantly, I like to be in the know, like physically there. Again, I have so many mixologists that I am like in awe of when I go out. So I try to still go out and just socialize and learn. Hands-on is the best experience for me, so.
Okay. Lastly, what exciting projects or collaborations do you have coming up in the near future?
Well, we are recording this documentary for a cocktail and a story. So that's one of the biggest that we have. We've done this particular workshop or theme, if you will, for the past 3 years because of the pandemic. So my goal and aim is to continue this journey statewide and nationally. And Slam Stand will be an international brand. So we are just in the midst of creating if you will, opportunities to bring other people in and continue that journey. So, yeah.
Okay. So to piggyback, I know that was my last question, but can you give us more on the cocktail and the story? What are you looking forward to most about it? What are your expectations? What do you hope people gain to take away?
I hope that, I hope that when people attend this event, they feel empowered, they feel educated, of course inebriated, but no, seriously, I want people to come together and learn things that I did not learn. You're learning about legacy, you're learning about mixology, you're learning about business ownership, entrepreneurship, if you will, from the 1800s, and that in itself is invaluable. So my hope is that everyone comes and they get to immerse themselves in it the same way that I have been, and we continue the journey. Okay. So yes.
Well, we look forward to all that you have to offer and all that your company will do in the near future. And I'm excited to see your success.
Thank you.